Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Radio Geonosis, where we talk about Star Wars from a certain point of view. I'm Angie.
I'm David.
I'm Aaron. What's up, guys?
And today we're going to be talking about our favorite time in the galaxy. And it could be anything from Dawn of the Jedi to the New Order. But before we do that, David has some hot happenings in Star Wars this week.
Hot happenings.
Okay, we're gonna do
Love that.
We're gonna do the small and easy stuff first. This week they announced. Well, not this week. Probably last week now. They announced that Jon Favreau. He's a director and an actor. He directed Iron Man 1 and 2. Yep. He's Happy Hogan.
Yep.
And a bunch of other amazing stuff. He's going to write and produce one of the Star Wars shows.
Ooh.
I think it was writing. I know it wasn't directing, but I'm pretty sure it was writing and producing.
Show meaning movie.
No,
Or show meeting.
one of the television shows.
Television show.
Oh, there's going to be television shows. Gosh darn, where am I?
Yeah, apparently there's a bunch of them, and they're all going to drop on that new Disney platform. So I'm excited for that because I just love him. He's
Cartoon
awesome.
Jon
or
Favreau.
show?
Probably show.
Which would be cool, though.
Yes.
I mean, because they've talked about, they've announced that they're doing, I want to say, 3 or 4 live action shows. So
I think we talked about that, and I said, "Oh my gosh, please don't make it a
I can't believe
musical.
you
I don't want it a
Star
musical."
Wars live action shows. That's so dope.
I know I've been waiting for that forever. I remember
That's
back.
so dope.
I remember
Does anyone
10
remember
years.
Indiana Jones? When
No,
it was...
the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. I love
Yes,
those.
I loved it.
Those were on Netflix for the longest time, and I'd watch them all the time.
Yes, I love
I
those
love the Young-
shows.
But I remember 10, maybe 12 years ago now, back in the early mid 2000s. Who was it? I know it was George Lucas, obviously, because he still owns Star Wars and Lucasfilm. But they were planning a show called Star Wars Underworld. That was live action, and it was supposed to take place on Coruscant. And it was supposed to be a really gritty show, and there was hints that Boba Fett was going to be part of it. And I'm trying to remember, it wasn't. Was it Rick McCallum, I think his name was? He was a producer of the original trilogy. He was going to produce it too alongside, but they just could never get funding because it was going to be it wasn't now where $1 million or $10 million episodes for Game of Thrones wasn't bad.
Right.
Because now we could justify it, but back then it was the amount of money it would cost to make just a single episode would be crazy.
Right. Even Vikings.
So they never did it.
Yeah. You're seeing big shows being on TV now, with big budgets.
Yeah, big movie budgets.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely.
Like Game of Thrones or The Walking Dead
Absolutely.
or even Viking, which comes out every other year because of how much they have to put into it. And into the there's another AMC show.
Is it Borderlands? It's not Borderlands.
Yes,
Is it?
yes.
Is it Borderlands?
I think it is.
'Cause I love that show.
Yes, so do I. And
really
but it hasn't been on for a while. Into the Badlands.
Into the
Badlands. Yes.
Yes.
I love that
Yes.
show. It's very
Yes.
gritty.
I want to watch that, yeah.
Oh my gosh, it is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But continue, David, since we butt in.
Oh, no. I like it when people butt in. It gives me a chance to think a little bit. I was saying, I'm just thinking that there was something else I wanted to say about the shows. I'm hoping that they give us variations on them. The Marvel shows on Netflix.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like how Daredevil is a Law and Order kind of TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Then Luke Cage is neo-blaxploitation.
Yeah.
Jessica Jones is L.A. noir kind of. I love.
Especially this season.
Oh,
so
yeah.
far.
Did you watch season 2?
yeah.
Oh, I finished it. It was amazing.
All right, I'm not done.
So good.
I have
don't
not
say
even
another
seen-
word, David.
I'm still working through the Punisher, guys. I'm still
Oh,
working
okay,
through the
okay.
Punisher.
But I'm hoping that the new Star Wars shows are like that. Where one is a crime drama sort of thing,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
one is maybe just different variations
yeah.
instead of here's a Star Wars show. Here's
Jessica
a Star Wars
Jones
show.
is
Here's
a true
Star Wars
detective show. I will say though, this season is
Finish.
true.
I watched it all in. I watched them
Don't
all in one day.
spoil
No, I'm not gonna
anything.
spoil it. It's just.
I haven't seen it yet.
It's way better than the first season though.
Is
Way
it?
Oh, it
better.
is.
Oh my
I didn't think it.
way
I didn't
better.
think it. I thought it would be like I love all of them. Even people who trash Iron Fist.
Yeah.
I love all the shows.
Oh yeah,
I
they're
liked
all,
Iron
I
Fist,
think they're
too.
all, I think they're all
Yeah.
dope.
But they
They're all
have a track season 1 Daredevil was amazing, and
Mm-hmm.
season 2 kind of wasn't.
cool. Yeah.
So
yeah.
we're building off that now. So I thought season 2 of Jessica Jones would be I'd still love it, but it wouldn't be as good as the first one. No.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for June 22nd, I believe, Luke Cage
Luke
season
Cage
2.
comes back. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys! I really
Yeah.
have to catch up on my.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want the Star Wars shows to be like that.
They may very well be. That we may be looking at. Hopefully, we'll be looking at Old Republic. We'll be looking at different things that in time, in the Star Wars time, hopefully not
Yeah.
forward, not some forward, some backwards. I'd love to see a lot of that.
That I to be honest, I think they're gonna take away from that formula though as well, because they see what works. You know what I mean? They see what works for people. You know what I mean? So I think they're gonna take away from that. I think
Yeah.
so. I believe so.
But I would like it to also not only be like different genre specific shows, but also like different eras. Because I have this deep seated fear that a lot of the content is going to be coming out, including Rian Johnson's films, which apparently are supposed to be something and somewhere we've never seen before in Star Wars. I just have a feeling it's all going to be around the Galactic Civil War era.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And I don't want that because we've already had so many movies and shows and everything
But
in that
if
in
you're
that like
talking
40-year
about-
time period.
But if you're talking about Galactic, we could be talking about
Like I think it'd be
Old
cool for
Republic
well, no, like Galactic Civil
Galactic.
War is the Empire and Rebels.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah,
okay.
so that's what I'm. So, but I think what would be cool is to have a like one of the shows be about the Galactic Civil War, but like more like kind of in the vein of Rogue One, where you just see these cells everywhere. And it's really gritty,
Yeah.
violent, not like rated R violent, but you know, like one of the coolest things I thought in Rogue One was when Cassian, is that it? Cassian Andor was on
Yes.
that like mining trading outpost. He caps a dude because he might have given him up. I was like, that's what I want to see because
Yeah,
the rebels, while they're fighting for a good cause, doesn't mean they're good guys.
Well, they all
Yeah,
have to do
they're rebels.
things. Well, yeah, they have to do things in the name of the Republic
Yeah.
to save
Yeah.
save.
I
the-
mean, by definition, they technically are terrorists.
Yeah. That's
Yes.
exactly
Yes.
what they are. No, that's well said. That's
So
exactly what
I
they
would
are.
like to see a show that's in the vein of that, but then I would love to see an old Republic show.
Yeah.
Whether or not like they do like the Malik and Revan storyline or not, or
Oh,
they
I'd
just
love to
just
see
set it in
that.
that time. But like I want to see different iterations. So that's like the news for the shows. I'm glad that more and more stuff is coming out, even if it's small bits like, oh, Jon Favreau is going to do one. So I'm hoping that D23 this year we'll either get some sort of teasers. I don't think we'll get teasers yet because they're, in production for all this stuff. But I think we'll maybe get one. If I have to do my predictions, we're going to get two main things. We're going to get a sequel to Rebels, whatever that's going to be announced. And that will probably be coming this year because they want to fill that time slot void now for Star Wars that's not on Disney XD since Rebels ended. And then we'll also get like a title and a synopsis for at least one of the live action shows.
I think they already have a lot of things that they want. They've got it all set in stone, kind of way, and they're letting out a little bit at a time of what they're going to be doing, but they're not going to really be telling us exactly everything because they don't want to let it all out so that we're like, oh gosh, when is this all coming out?
Yeah.
They're letting it out in bits and pieces.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that we get like a little taste of like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see what's going to come out.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but I do like with Rogue One, it shows like a kind of a puzzle piece of how they came about getting everything
Yeah.
done, like finding out about the Death Star. It answers questions of what happened.
Yeah, and Rogue One for me, like I said, we talked about Rogue One. I think one of our first episodes might have been our second about why I thought it was a war movie, like a
Yeah,
Saving
it was a
Private
straight up
Ryan,
war movie.
Right.
Yeah.
or something. You know what I mean? And that's what I like because you don't see those trenches. I mean, years of the Star Wars movies, we've been just following the Jedi. We've just been following, the politics, the voting,
Right,
and
right.
And when it
But
is
not
war,
the
it's
people-
fanfare and
Exactly.
on like a pedestal scale.
Yeah,
It's not
exactly.
like
It's-
gritty, dirty
Yeah,
on the
we
How
don't
ground.
it
see-
happened,
we
yeah,
don't
the
see
nuts and bolts
We don't
of
see
it.
the heroes, the guys on the floor who are
Yeah.
actually in the trenches and doing. So that's why I liked about Rogue One. Granted, I didn't care what anyone else thought about it. That's what I appreciated because you always think because Star Wars has a good way of thinking of doing that. Like, you know what battle's going on, but they're not there. A Jedi might not be there, or a main character might not be there.
Right.
But you want to know what's going on.
How
Yeah.
this came
How it
about.
come about? Who's fighting?
Yeah.
Who's doing this? And we found out me personally, those are new heroes to me.
Oh yeah.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Those are new heroes. Like, oh, if it wasn't for them, this wouldn't have gotten done. If it
Right,
wasn't for them,
right.
this wouldn't have.
And they could be considered the separatists of
Yeah,
the time.
yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
the separatists were the bad guys in the first few movies, but now they're considered kind of the separatists
yeah.
in
Yeah.
the Rogue One
Yeah.
and going forward.
Exactly.
It's kind of like I love that illusion too, where like if you take Rogue One the way it is, and you're like, oh, these people died, and then you take and even just like the foots on the ground soldiers that are nameless,
Yeah.
but then like you take those exact same scenes on Scarif and you put like a Jedi in front of him who's been in the movie the whole time, and we've been following his or her story,
Yeah.
and then it's like, oh well, nameless soldiers 3, 7, and 12 just died.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like,
yeah. And it means nothing. And
Right.
These characters then it kind of just go unnoticed for me. Like, and that's
Right.
what I appreciated because you got to see the people in the trenches, the
Yeah,
people, the
willing to
groundwork,
die.
willing to die for this
Yes.
whole new. This at the time, it's brand new. This is
Yes.
still new.
it's like cool that you mentioned Saving Private Ryan too, because it does feel like that in a way because you are caring about each individual soldier. Like
Yeah.
in Saving Private Ryan, when they're storming Normandy, the opening sequence, you see like hundreds of soldiers killed, maimed
Yeah,
brutally,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it like with camera focusing on them. But those are characters you never meet, know their name, whatever, but you still care
Yeah, you still
because
care.
it's
What
just
they're
that
fighting
kind
for,
of
yeah.
movie.
Yeah,
It's
and what they're fighting for.
there's not like a massive even with Tom Hanks, there still isn't a massive distraction in that movie that takes away from
everyone
everything else. Yeah.
exactly. So that's what. So I'm hoping we do get those variations of like maybe more a show about just those people are in the trenches, and then you might get another show just strictly about the politics, which I just told you and pre-show. Like I feel like I want to know more about. So I hope we do get like different variations of shows.
Like what I would like out of the show, and I'm gonna get yelled at, is kind of like what Star Trek did, because when people talk about Star Trek, they go Star Trek. This makes sense in the scheme of things, because like when people like the top two, granted there's another one I'm gonna talk about, but the main top two Star Trek series are the original, and then the Next Generation with Patrick Stewart that came after that. Then came out Deep Space Nine, which aired like at the later half of the few seasons of Next Generation, then continued on by itself. And what Deep Space Nine did was took the exact same time period of Next Generation, some of the characters, and literally put them in in a more realistic, gritty, dark, almost a more Star Wars kind of environment. And I would like to see that. You essentially take what the movies have, but you build off of it like the way Deep Space Nine did, where it's really gritty, really dark. You're a lot of character story. I think that would be kind of cool. That's the route I want them to go.
Maybe that is the route they're going, because you have the movies, right? You have all of the Star Wars movies, but you have the books that have all of the nuts and bolts in it that tell you, the games and the books and the comics that tell you all the different things of how it all works, the mechanics of how it all works. And so I do hope that they do that. I would like to see it. But what about Rebels? Tell me about Rebels.
I heard there were a lot of tears being shed this week. I heard tears literally this weekend.
Have you seen it? Because he's going to be spoiling right now.
Well, you know what? I hold nothing against you if you do spoil it. I absolutely have no problem.
Trust me, if I spoil this, when you go and watch it, whether you've watched any of it or none of it, you're still going to love it.
Exactly. Yeah, go ahead. By
but,
all means,
spoilers for everybody listening. Because I don't care if you don't want it spoiled or not. I'm getting ready to. Because honestly, I'm just going to point this out now for anybody who is listening. I will always declare spoilers beforehand, but I don't care.
Yeah, good.
If you're watching this, I expect you to be updated on the movies in Rebels, except for extreme circumstances. So, essentially, I'm gonna just skip a lot of it because the ending is what matters. But essentially, the whole plot of the entire 4 seasons is there's the planet Lothal, which is Ezra's from, which is where the Rebels crew operates for the most part. The whole story arc for the whole season is to relinquish the Empire's control of this planet, like force them out, give it back to the people. So, cut to like the last, maybe 20, 30 minutes.
On this planet. Correct?
Yeah, no, yeah, they are full in. They're using it as factories and everything. They're mining it. So it's just like any other planet, but it's kind of funny because like the Empire is doing this to a lot of planets, but this one matters because this is the one the story they're telling. But it's the same as almost every other Imperial occupation. So essentially, trying to figure out the best way to describe it all. I'm gonna do like the last 10-15 minutes ish, give or take. The Rebels want to destroy the Empire presence on Lothal. So their overall goal is there's a big like hub. An Imperial building. It's also a spaceship. Kind of like the droid ships, the balls that would fly up and connect. Kind of similar to that. And their plan is to declare an Imperial code that forces all Imperial forces on Lothal back into this building, then shoot the building back into space and blow it up.
Yeah,
done. So while this is happening, Thrawn, Grand Admiral Thrawn, he intercepts them, prevents them from doing it, and in order for the plan to succeed, Ezra, without his lightsaber, goes to confront Thrawn. He like surrenders himself to Thrawn, like in a very Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader way.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens then is, they're fighting, blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, we're going to destroy it. We're going to keep this planet. You're not going to win, blah, blah, blah. The whole, nuance of conversations in the Star Wars universe. And then Ezra, now we're going to go back and past a little bit. In a previous season, he made a force connection with these space whale octopus things.
Mm-hmm.
And what's unique about them is they can biologically travel through hyperspace. Like,
Now,
boom.
are they the same, kind of the same kind of whales that are on the clone, where they made the clones?
No, those are like...
Those, I know what you're, yeah.
No, different. Like, these things are like, they seriously, like, whale head tentacles.
Okay.
yeah.
So not like that.
Like, they're really cool looking. So they can travel through hyperspace, just biologically. Ezra formed a connection with them, and he was able to have that as like a backup plan, and he needed the backup plan, and he kind of summoned them to Lothal,
Like
and they
Aquaman.
start just ripping everything. Yeah, he's like Aquaman of the Force universe.
Exactly.
The one fish that actually can save, because sharks don't work on land.
Yeah,
Anyways,
exactly.
so he summons these things. These things start destroying everything Imperial, and then in order to, because Thrawn's ship is hovering over this Imperial base that they're trying to get out of the way, so they can't do anything because if it blows up and destroys the city because it's going to blow up right there instead of where they want it to. So a couple of these space whales grab onto Admiral Thrawn's Star Destroyer, envelop him, like they're like shoot their tentacles to the window, and they're like grabbing him. He's escaping but getting grabbed again, that whole thing. And they jump into light speed with Ezra and Thrawn still on the ship. So the ship is now lost.
Mm-hmm.
Presumably they're both dead.
Mm-hmm.
And then it cuts to like we won. They send the ship up, they blow it up. And then it cuts to post Return of the Jedi. So we're jumping 6 years ish?
Yeah.
5-6 years, give or take?
Yeah, about 6 years, 5 years.
It's on Lothal. And these are where the story arcs kind of go. Hera is revealed to have fought at the Battle of Endor. I'm presuming they mean space battle, like when they blew up the Death Star for the second time.
Mm-hmm.
She has a son now, which is Kanan's son. Kanan died. We talked about that the other week.
See, I told you,
Yeah.
a lot of hooking up.
Yeah, a lot of hooking up.
So she has a son. It's Kanan's. At least everybody's saying it's Kanan's.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna believe them.
Yeah.
But just so everybody knows, or at least everybody's saying it's Kanan's.
Where's Morty
I
when you
believe
need
it was
him?
mentioned too on Rebels Recon or something that was his or alluded to, but it's Kanan's son. There's a cool Garazeb Aurelios, the like pre-Wookiee character plot line where Agent Callus is an Imperial character who defects to the Rebels, and he was also responsible for basically annihilating Zeb's species.
Mm-hmm.
So there's kind of like a sweet moment where Zeb takes Callus to this like promised land for their species where they're like thriving and they accept him and they tell him it's all okay. Then I'm trying to think before we get to the good one if there was another one. Oh, it was previously confirmed, but now it's 100% confirmed in a Star Wars thing. The old guy on Endor is Rex, Captain Rex.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
That has been confirmed. Like, we've all like when it was first. Like, there's a picture of the rebels on Endor, like a photo shot for like press.
Yeah.
But from back in the day, and one of them looks exactly like Rex with the beard and everything.
The beard. Yeah.
And so a lot of people are like, "Hey, this would be cool if this guy was Rex." And they kind of it's kind of like the theory that they did with in Iron Man 2. Everybody was like, "That'd be cool if the kid in the Iron Man mask is Spider-Man." And they said, "Yeah, that's Spider-Man."
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same thing. But now they've confirmed it. I mean, it was confirmed, but now it's confirmed story-wise. So. I'm just thinking to make sure I don't miss anything.
Wait, Rex lived a long time.
Yeah,
for a clone too.
For a clone too. Yeah, he did.
But he took out that one
chip.
piece, the chip.
The
So
chip.
But he was still aging fast though, because that chip was just to control them. Like that was like when Execute Order 66, that thing went clink, and that's why they were.
Well, maybe they were able to.
I imagine he was able to halt his. Because there is storylines, both in Star Wars Galaxies, the old MMO, and in the books. There's even a storyline with Boba Fett, where even though
Boba Fett, I heard
even though Boba Fett didn't age at an increased rate, there was an issue with his aging, and he was starting to deteriorate. And I don't remember exact details.
Happened to clone 1,000
but
times.
he actually found a clone from the Clone Wars. Boba Fett was like, I need to figure out how I'm gonna live, goes and finds a clone from the Clone Wars who like beat the aging system along with some of the Kaminoans. But yeah,
But see, Boba Fett's different. He was in the Attack of the Clones. I mean, yes,
Attack of the Clones.
Attack of
Yeah,
the
Attack of the Clones. They're talking on Kamino, and they're saying
he's
that
unaltered.
He's
He's a perfect genetic replica of Jango Fett. The difference
Right.
between him and the clones are the clones age faster.
Right.
They're less docile. They're prone to take orders. etc.
Right,
Like
so-
they're raised to be soldiers, whereas Boba Fett wasn't essentially.
right. So maybe there was something about Boba Fett that made him not age as fast.
Well, no, yeah,
Maybe it
because
was his species.
well, no, it's that like they actually when they bred the clones, like how you clone is like you clone. Here's a clone.
Right.
But what they did to the actual clone army was since it's going to take forever to raise clones, they doubled their metabolic rate. So, like when a clone is 10 years old, they would be 20 years old. Boba Fett, he didn't get any of that. So, like
Yeah.
when he was
He's
one,
unaltered.
he was one.
He's
When he was
unaltered.
10, he was 10.
Yeah.
So he was like pure, and the other ones just it's kind of like Jurassic Park almost. Like they were messing with the DNA sequences to
Right.
do things that otherwise
That's why
wouldn't
they
have
got the
happened.
big bucks.
Yeah.
But I guess the big one, since I think there was another thing, but I don't remember. But the big reveal, and it's the final scene of the season, is Ahsoka Tano shows up in a Clone Wars ship, and this is after Return of the Jedi, so she's lived through the Empire now. And
'Cause she's special.
her and Sabine, seemingly from because Sabine's giving a voiceover this whole time through these sequences.
She's narrating.
Yeah, she's she's doing the narration for like, this is what happened to these characters, and what it alludes to is Ahsoka Tano and Sabine are going to go off to the Outer Rim to find Ezra.
Mm.
So this is like probably going to be a new show where
Yeah.
Ahsoka's on there, but she doesn't have to fear being killed now by
Yeah,
Anakin Skywalker because he's already, he's
Yeah.
already died.
Yeah.
Which I want.
She's got to be somewhere in that age frame
Yeah.
of what he was.
Yeah.
Like an Obi-Wan age kind of. She's older.
Does she
I think
look-
they have a
does she-
longer lifespan than like humans too, so
Do
she would
they?
live longer than a natural human. What I want more than anything, so go with me on this. Mark Hamill is an accomplished
don't
voice actor,
know.
right? Mark Hamill is an accomplished voice actor, and anybody who's seen not The Last Jedi, but anybody who's seen any of the press for Last Jedi or even Force Awakens, he still sounds pretty much like he sounded
Years
when he
ago?
was younger.
Yeah.
I don't even want it for full seasons or for a full series. I just give me one episode. If this new series, if they do it, takes place after Return of the Jedi,
Right.
I want an episode where Ahsoka Tano meets Luke Skywalker
Oh wow.
That's a possibility.
Wow.
That's a
and get Mark Hamill
possibility.
to do his voice.
Now, I was talking to David in the car about this, and I think this is my theory on how Rey is going to play a part in the next movie. Because Rey, we know that Daisy really doesn't want to continue on. She's going
Yeah.
to do this next movie, and then that's going to be it.
Unfortunately, I don't know what else she's gonna do, but okay.
She could do other movies.
I hope.
I
Yeah,
guess.
they go on to other stuff. A lot of.
Have you seen Star Wars?
Well,
Harrison Ford's the only actor whose career wasn't killed.
That's what I get. Well, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
But no, I get it.
but she could go on to do other things. But my theory is because they've introduced time travel in the Rebels, there's a possibility that the next movie could have it in it, and that what she does is she goes back in time, gets Luke Skywalker before he becomes a ghost, a Force ghost, and she sacrifices herself, and he comes back.
Oh wow.
I think there's a possibility of something like that.
That would
happening.
be the wildest shit ever.
Oh wait, speaking of Last Jedi, this is still relevant for news. Tomorrow
It
comes
comes
out
out.
on digital, and then
Yes.
like 2 weeks from tomorrow, it comes out on physical.
Yes.
Physical.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm watching the shit out of that tomorrow. Excuse my language. I just want to watch that Yoda scene over and over again.
But
That's
I
my.
do think there's a possibility of that happening since they introduced it in Rebels. I think we may see that in the next movie,
Yeah.
and for them to bring Luke back. And since Daisy doesn't want to continue on,
Unfortunately.
this is going to be a way for her to say goodbye, and it would be a way for fans to say she sacrificed herself for Luke. Luke could come back, start another temple because he could be renewed in how he feels about things, knowing that he's got to beat Kylo Ren, right? And so it could be Rose and Finn who come back as Jedi, maybe showing some sort of Force powers.
Yeah.
You know, I know that's reaching, but there's also those kids at the very end of the
Yeah.
Last Jedi that he could train because
Yeah.
they are Force sensitive. You can tell the little kid with the broom.
Oh yeah, yeah. He
That's an
used the Force,
indication that there's still kids out there. And in all of the books after the Return of the Jedi, there's indications that kids are Force sensitive in the galaxy.
I
It
don't think
doesn't
that'll
stop.
ever stop. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
think
it
that'll
doesn't
yeah.
stop.
It'll never stop.
No,
It'll never.
no.
It'll never.
But
Yeah, like
see, that's
the-
my synopsis of it.
Right, like the Force, the Jedi, the Sith, everything. That's all different stuff. The Force is just the Force.
The Force, yeah.
Right.
That's why I think, which I thought was cool that scene was in that movie, because I was like, oh, it's showing that, you know, there's hope for the galaxy. There's still Force users
Right.
out there. There's still stories to tell. But I was also like, I know they put this in here because some people watching this movie are like, but the Jedi are gone. How can there still be
Yeah,
Force
but yeah,
users?
you can't even think of it that way.
Right,
you
right.
know?
Because now Ray's got the books, but there's
Yeah.
a possibility that, and he did have that sanctuary and
True.
everything. So if she's able to go back in time and save him before he does that,
And that kid could go through a traumatic experience and become a Sith. So it doesn't really
Exactly.
it doesn't even it doesn't
Right,
really
it
justify
depends.
anything. Yeah,
It
it just
depends,
depends. It
yeah.
all depends. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm still wondering how they're going to do that because she doesn't want to come back. She's not going to come back. So you're kind of right. Like, if she's going to go out,
That's to go with a bang. Can't just
it has to be self-sacrificial,
right?
or it has to be like, I did my duty. I'm just going to go wander space. You know, something like
no,
that.
No,
Because
I think they want to put. They may be just putting a categorize
But-
that.
think about it from this. This is why I say the second part, because think about it this way.
and that's why it doesn't make
She's-
sense. She shouldn't
Right.
stop.
She's like, she's the poster boy for women in Star Wars right now.
Yeah.
I said poster boy, but you get what I'm saying, poster girl.
exactly.
Right, right.
She is representative of females in Star Wars in a starring role, and a role that is a Jedi, and a role that is powerful.
Yeah, but she does.
So if
see,
they
the thing
kill
is
her-
no, they don't. But she sacrifices herself. If she goes back in time and gets back Luke,
Yeah.
she sacrifices herself. She still remains a martyr. She remains a very powerful figure because what she did for Luke, she
Yeah.
rescued him. But then you can bring up other Jedi because look at Ahsoka. She went from this little apprentice, a
Yeah.
little Padawan, really in the beginning of the Clone Wars to what
to
she
Gandalf
is
the
now.
Grey.
Yeah,
She seriously looks like Gandalf.
pretty
She's
much.
wearing a robe and has a staff at the end of Rebels, and it's all white.
Well, what do you
She looks
expect?
like
She's
Gandalf.
How old?
I even shared a meme today that was like comparing Ahsoka Tano to Gandalf, and it was like all the points are the same.
But see, there you have it. You still have those women figures that can take the part of what Rey was.
Yeah.
Because Rey, we don't even know if she really is Force sensitive. If she is, we do know, but what I'm saying is we don't know if she goes on to be a powerful Jedi.
Yeah.
It doesn't
no
True.
indicate that. It does not indicate it because Daisy does not want to continue after
which
the
makes
next
no
movie.
sense to me still. It just doesn't. I understand
know,
as
I
actors
know,
you
but-
want to grow and go on and stuff, but just look at your peers. Like Marvel's right next door, and no one's complaining about not wanting to be Captain America anymore or Thor anymore. Just do it.
Until Avengers
But
Infinity
she-
War.
but
They're
she
capping
made-
somebody, I know it.
Just
But she made, in her career says, this, I've gone as far as I want to go with this. And so she wants to move on. And in order for them to do that, she's going to have to go out in a grand way.
if Daisy's listening to this, like just I would hope she just hears and listens to me. She was in a movie with other good actors, like good actors on the come. It was the train murder mystery movie that came out.
Oh, Murder on the Orient
and
Express.
no one cared. So Daisy, if you're listening to me, just stick around. It's Star Wars.
If you're listening to me, I'm mad at you because you're going to ruin the next 3 movies.
Exactly.
Only because they don't know what they're going to do if you leave.
But I'm telling you that it could come out like a Rogue One kind of thing, where we think, oh, it's not going to be very good. But you know what? Then you see it, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is really, really good. I think the Han Solo movies are going to be good. Honestly, in my opinion, we're going to see some heroes in that you're like, because a lot of people are like, I don't know how I feel about that. But I honestly think we're going to see some really good grit there, and we're
Yeah.
going to see a good movie, and you're going to see new heroes.
Yeah.
That movie could be 2 hours of Aaron Aldenreich reading the script to me, and I'd still love it. You know why? Because they signed on Emilia Clarke and Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
When that happened, I was like, I don't care. you can make a 2-hour
I
stupid
loved
movie.
him.
I'm still
I
gonna.
loved Woody Harrelson in The Hunger Games. He did not have a big part,
Yeah.
but he was really good.
That's
at it.
all. That's the out of all the Woody Harrelson roles. That's the one you
Well,
choose.
there's a lot of them, but I mean, there's some real gritty ones that he did. But
Yeah.
as far as I'm talking about a small role, they signed him on to that because we don't know what kind of role he's going to have in.
I think he's
the Han
playing. Like
Solo.
I think the most we know is that he's gonna play his mentor or something like that, like Han Solo's mentor. Other
But
than
it
that,
could
like,
be a
nothing.
big role,
Yeah.
a small role. We don't know. But in the Hunger Games, it was really good. But anyways, that's.
I have a
my
feeling
take
he's
on it.
gonna die in it, and I'm gonna be sad. It's Woody
I don't
Harrelson.
know. I don't know.
It's like kill the Wookiee first or something. Come on.
No, the wiki goes on.
I mean, technically, Chewbacca did die in Legends. He had a moon crash into him.
I know. But see, they
way to go
changed
out.
that. See,
way
they
to go
changed
out.
that, and now Han Solo dies.
Which actually, if I'm remembering correctly, the whole Chewbacca thing ended up not working because I think what happened was
Han Solo's son.
well, no, it's like deeper than that. Like Chewbacca saves himself because Han Solo has 2 sons. He has Anakin Solo
had
and
2
then
sons
Jason
and a daughter.
Solo.
Right.
And a daughter.
Yeah,
Right?
he has the twins,
We're
Jason and
talking
Jaina
EU
Solo.
people. We're talking E EU.
And then he had the other son, Anakin. If I'm remembering correctly, Chewbacca sacrificed himself to save Anakin, who like died a few books later, anyways. So it was like, okay,
Well, I don't know. That kind of explains Star Wars in a nutshell, doesn't it?
yeah. Especially back in that day, that was like when you had multiple books coming out every year by multiple writers, and it still
Right.
had to all be.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
Tom-
because
yeah.
Lucas read all of them before any of those books were released. He read them to make sure they fit into the timeline.
Yeah. Yeah. He definitely
So
had the final
and-
say so.
Yeah. And those were written before Episode 1. These books were written back then because
Were those
everything. Yes, because everything.
So I remember the Thrawn trilogy was. So I'm trying to remember because like, there's literally
He argues
40
with
years worth of books. No, I'm trying to remember because there's like 40 years like timeline
right,
worth
that
of books.
they could go forward, they just couldn't go backwards. Because
No, yeah,
I
he
know
wouldn't
that
let them do anything
right.
before A New Hope.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Lucas and Dark Horse kind of covered a lot of. They kind of did a little bit of Star Wars lore, of the Old Republic kind of thing.
Yeah.
They did it, but they were the only ones allowed.
Oh my God.
Okay, so we're talking about Rey going through the time, going through time and saving Luke Skywalker. How about this? Obi-Wan movies, and we bring back Qui-Gon as a Force ghost through that.
Yes.
That jolt of energy was
That
insane.
would be unbelievable.
It's
Because
over
remember,
I didn't even think about that. That's like right there. It's like it's a grasping range. Like I'm stupid. I hate myself for not even thinking of that before.
oh, that's why I think about these things.
and he
people.
was so willing because like I said, he was supposed to do episode 3, and he came back for Clone Wars. Like he did the voice in the last
Yes,
season
he
of
did.
Clone Wars. So it's like I could totally see him
Yeah,
being like, "Yeah, I'll come in for like 3
'cause-
days to shoot as a
'Cause
ghost."
It's not
Ooh.
even supposed
Yes.
to be that hard. It's supposed to be, I'm down with it. I'm game. When has Star Wars let any one of these people down? Never.
Oh,
It's
I'm-
only taken their career to new
yes, new
So-
heights. Yes,
So to me, there's
Yes.
just no point of even trying to just distance yourself
I could
from it.
so see Liam Neeson coming back as a Force
Absolutely,
ghost.
'cause it would-
Because what does Yoda tell him?
And
Yoda came back for crying out loud.
Exactly. If Yoda could come back, Daisy, you damn sure well as hell
And
come
so
back.
can Qui-Gon.
Absolutely.
And we'll see how Obi-Wan is on this planet, on Tatooine, 17 years doing all this training, and he becomes a Force ghost. We want to know how it happened. We found out with Rogue One how the plans were stolen, correct? Now we need to know how how Obi-Wan learns to become a Force ghost. We want to know.
Yeah.
And we want
want that.
Qui-Gon to tell us.
Exactly. Yeah.
'Cause I always loved Qui-Gon.
So did
But
I.
like, I will say, even as a kid, I was kind of like, wow, they got the guy from Schindler's List to play a Jedi. But like, it worked out. I was like, oh, that's great.
I liked it. He was a outside the box kind of guy.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah.
I like that he was a Jedi that was willing to go outside of that because he pretty much tells Obi-Wan, be quiet. I'm going to do what I must
Exactly.
do.
Exactly.
They should do a Qui-Gon Jinn movie with him, and it's just like Qui-Gon Jinn, but with the entire plot of the Taken movies.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like him like just murdering people with a lightsaber and arguing at them on the phone. That's the movie I want to.
Okay,
I
they
will
don't have
write and direct
phones in
that just
Star
in case
Wars.
anybody.
Comms.
They have those. They have the. Well, they have the.
Oh yeah, they have
the
the
little comms, and then they
yeah,
have the little
yeah.
things that show the people. I don't know.
My Qui-Gon is going to have an episode 5. I know, an iPhone 5S. He's going to be like, oh, he's like, yeah, okay, where's Obi-Wan? You know, like, I got to let him know some people call me and stole my daughter.
yeah.
Oh, there he is.
And who knows?
I'll write that movie.
He could have a daughter. He could. Any of them could. Like
Yeah.
we talked about Obi-Wan having 5 ladies, a list of ladies, or even Qui-Gon getting involved with Talia. Even what we're talking about in Rebels,
Yeah.
how we see Hera with a child. There is I mean, the possibilities of that are limitless.
I mean, it's why we love Star Wars, the
Yeah.
mystery, the we don't know
Yes.
aspect behind this galaxy.
And you can write it in if you want to.
Exactly. You could just and see, that's why one of my
See, you
dreams,
just justified it. I can write
one
in
of my
iPhone
dream-
5s.
One of my
Yes.
dreams would be to direct a Star Wars movie, like God willing,
Oh,
it ever
yeah.
happens. Like I would
Yeah.
want, because you could.
Yeah, I say stranger things have happened.
Exactly. Like I would really just implement like just my own. Because you could do that with Star Wars.
Right.
There's so many gaps. There's so many time periods. There's so many
Right, and it's
Heroes
a lot of questions unanswered.
answered.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I definitely would want to, mess with the brain of the watchers too. You know
Exactly.
what I mean? So I would.
I'd love to write a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Without iPhones,
I'll
like
watch
a
it.
serious.
Direct, all of it. All of it.
It'll be a serious one.
All of it.
I would love to do that. But I don't know what I would write.
I don't know what you're going to write, but right now what we're going to be talking about.
Oh, no.
we-
Okay, fine.
Don't we need to get to our topic today?
Yes, we do. We do.
Or are we just going to be talking about what the ifs and whats and buts?
Fine, we could go to the topic. We go to the topic.
We could still stay on the if, whats, and buts and what ifs.
I'm pretty sure our topic will garner some of that talk.
Yeah,
I'm
could
sure.
possibly.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so our favorite time in the galaxy.
Do you want me to go first?
Since you want to, you go right ahead
Okay.
with that.
So my movie.
Come back to us, David. Come back to us.
No, Old Republic, hands down. Which, if I were to write a Star Wars movie, would be set in the Old Republic.
But what time frame? What time frame are you talking about?
Like approximately 4,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. That give
The
or take
Revan-
1,000 a
is
year.
it the Revan period? Is it the
Yeah, like that Old Republic, like give or take 1,000 years. Just that general section of the galaxy.
And
Even a
Revan-
little bit closer, like what was it, 2,000 years before, I think, ish, is when Darth Bane. Even that timeline era, because like even when Darth Bane was around, which was after the Old Republic and still before Clone Wars, like halfway ish, like the Sith were still like massive because like they still didn't have rule of two. Actually, that would be my thing. I would love to be in, watch, write anything Star Wars that's pre Darth Bane or before Bane's death, where you have like hordes of Jedi versus hordes of Sith. That's
Right.
why I love that era so much.
So you're seeing like giant battles of not clones and
No, you're seeing giant battles of Sith and Jedi fighting each other.
Right. Not robots or any kind of droids or anything like that. Because in Clone Wars, you're seeing droids and Jedi fight. You're not seeing Sith and Jedi fight.
Exactly.
Yeah, this I would say that'd be exciting to see because you'll see like them using the same kind of battle techniques.
Yeah.
To these outsmarting each other, trying to outsmart each other,
Exactly.
using the different Jedi fighting styles. And that would be cool.
Yeah.
I had a thought. What was it? Oh, yeah. Plus, like, I respect what Palpatine did. It was really cool. But it was like, come on. Thousands of Jedi working against 2 Sith? Just show me, like, them running at each other full force with lightsabers drawn,
Because
please.
he outsmarted
Exactly.
them with his mind. He did not outsmart them in battle, but it was
I
was
get that.
mind games.
No, I get that. And I like it because that's how I roll too. But it's like, come on, man. Feeble old guy. 10,000 Jedi. Like, really?
And you know who's still around? The feeble old guy, and the Jedi are gone. So I don't know.
I know, but he did a crappy job exterminating him. You got like Ahsoka, Kanan, Ezra.
Because they were outside I think they were outside the cusp of what, like.
I
the
think he
people-
just like destroyed more. The majority of the Order got what he wanted. It was like, if they pop up, I'll just invade her to cap. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
Or
Yeah.
the
Oh, the Inquisitors.
Inquisitors. Yes.
Inquisitors.
Yes.
Yeah, I think
I executioner.
I think he got like
But basically, that's what
60%
they
of the
were.
job done at first, and he was like, "This is good enough to start the empire."
Well, maybe
And then
he
like just
thought-
over time,
Well, he had, and like you said, he had Darth Vader doing it, so he didn't have to worry about that.
that was like Darth Vader's primary job until like
Right
pre-Death
now.
Star was
Yes.
just like,
Yeah.
you go find more Force users and just kill them.
So this is your favorite time.
Oh yeah, old Republic definitely.
Okay, so for me, it's the Republic. And, you know, and nobody's picking the New Order. You notice that nobody's.
No, they're still fairly new. To
But
me.
for me, it's the
Yeah,
old.
they have
It's
some
the old
learning
Republic.
to do. Yeah,
It's the Republic, and they considered it the old Republic or the Great Peace of the Republic.
it's the old Republic, and when in
Kotor.
reference to the New Republic.
Right. And it was between the Battle of Russan, which was 1,000 BBY, to the Clone Wars, which was 22 BBY.
I think the battle was. I have to look. I think that might have been one of the Darth Bane things. I don't remember though.
It could be, but that is the time frame that I picked, and that's
That
the time
name
when
Rasan sounds really familiar.
yeah, they're establishing the sovereign star system. They're setting up the government. They're setting everything up. They sign. If we go back in time, which we're going to go back to 25. What was it? 2553 BBY. The core worlds unite and they form the Republic. They sign a galactic constitution, and in that time,
25,000 years.
yes, 25,000 years. 2553 BBY.
Okay. Yeah, no, I get it.
Hello.
I get it.
I got 2553. I was like 2553.
Yes, they
I didn't get the zero in there.
They established. They set up a thing where you now have a you have I can't think of it right now. I write all these notes down. The Supreme Chancellor. They set up a Supreme Chancellor at this time, which was 2553. So it goes back into the old Republic.
Yeah, that's like birth of a unified galaxy.
Right.
That's like the beginning of that's like when you go from tribes and war
Yes.
leaders on planets to
Yes,
a sophisticated interplanetary
and
government.
at that time they established it, but apparently there's been wars and things after that.
Oh yeah.
There was wars and things, and so but the Jedi at that point they pledged their support to defend the Republic back 25,000 years ago. So I don't know why the Jedi feel the need to have to do that. Back 25,000 years, they was a call maybe to protect the galaxy. It was their call to do this.
That's a good question.
Yeah, and so I don't know why they do it, but it's their call. They do it. But for me, it was the time when Yoda was the Jedi. He's the Grand Master. You had the 12 of the wisest and the finest and wisest masters on the Jedi Council.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but they were all killed.
You didn't let me finish.
I was just joking.
Okay, we're not. We're talking about our favorite time, not how they get killed.
Well, I was
Even
just
though
saying
I
you said the
know
strongest
that.
and wisest, and I'm like, if
Well,
I remember correctly, a few
you didn't let me
years later.
finish. You didn't let me finish because I'm going to tell you how they get weakened.
Oh, okay.
There's-
Okay.
Oh my god! But I was telling Aaron.
Damn it, David.
Okay, this was
I saw the shot and I had to take it. I'm sorry. Go on.
This was 1,000-year generation. That was my favorite time, and you're killing it right now. You're killing it. But I do think it was kind of awesome because in King Arthur, there was the Knights of the Round Table.
Yeah, we spoke about pre-show.
And yes, and they had the same kind of thing. The wisest and the strongest sat on that council. Even though they're not around either. Thank you for pointing that out.
I don't think one feeble old guy killed them all, though. Wait. I don't think so. I don't
Well,
remember
you know
my
what?
King Arthur
We don't
mythology
know if
that
they
much.
all. Well, yeah, they do. They all get wiped out. Yoda doesn't, though. Neither does Obi-Wan. We
Yeah,
know
those are the
Mace-
two council. I think those are the two council members confirmed alive.
Right, and hello, Anakin kills Mace Windu, not Palpatine.
No,
Let me
Palpatine totally
point
killed him.
That out.
Okay, so like
It was
if
Point
an
that
assist.
out.
if all three of us are standing by a window, and I'm choking you, and Aaron cuts your hand off, and then I throw you out the window, I still pushed you out the window.
That's
He's an accomplice to murder. He's not the murderer.
Yeah, I just gave an assist of
You know,
some sort.
you notice in Star Wars, a lot of people are cutting people's hands off.
Yeah, I don't know what.
A lot of that's going on.
I don't know what's going on.
We
with
got to
that.
find out what's going
The
on.
meaning
Because it's like
Yes.
30 minutes later, you can get a new hand too. So it's like, why even bother
Well,
with the hands?
So it leaves the door open that Mace Windu could
I
still
thought I
be
saw
alive.
stuff about Mace Windu this weekend too. I thought I heard. I thought not even heard.
Dig
but-
deeper, man. Dig
No,
deep.
I thought like I was, you scroll down the Instagram Explorer page. I thought I saw like some stuff about Mace Windu. I saw.
I'll have to
him
look
with
into it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
swear I seen a
Yeah.
picture with him with a dirty, grungy robe, a gold hand, and like him just looking really, really beat up.
Oh.
So,
I would
I'll have to
love
look-
that.
I'll have to see that.
think,
I swear it was Saturday night. It was at my
Ooh,
brother's
quick thought.
party.
The reason everybody's getting their hands cut off in Star Wars is because it's a medical conspiracy, so the corporations can sell more fake hands.
That cannot be it.
Okay, I was just throwing that out there. But go on about your 12 guys. You're telling me there can't be conspiracies through corporations? Go on.
The
Okay, so
corporations.
in this time of the Republic, you do see that the the Jedi have a temple, and it's got the 5 spears, which the 5 crown spears. The temple was a Jedi order, part school, part monastery, and like I told Aaron, part hooking up place. Earlier today, we talked about that. The temple was a hub for all of the Jedi in the time of the Republic. I think where they go wrong is they built it on Coruscant. They should have built the temple on.
Tython?
Yes, they should have left it on there, and because it was the Jedi's home world. But they should have left it there.
Well, because we don't know if it is now, because now there's that Octo place that Luke Skywalker's like, this is the first Jedi temple.
Well, that's because they changed it.
Yeah, but I think Tython or Octo, like, that same argument, that'd be cool. Like,
Right.
keep it in the place that matters.
Now, this shrine that was built on Coruscant was constructed 5,000 years before BBY.
Yeah, before battle, yeah.
Right. The temple was built on this ancient shrine. Jedi were hoping to neutralize the dark energies from the shrine. But over the millennial, the dark energies of the shrine seeped upward and outward, weakening the Jedi Order. This may have been a reason why, like Yoda was never able to sense Palpatine as the Sith.
Okay, I get that.
Okay?
But
let me tell you one more thing.
Okay. We're going to have to go back to that dark temple thingy, though.
Yes, I told I told Aaron earlier, what if Anakin's room was in the center of where it was
Oh, that would be
seeping?
cool. But didn't he live with Padme? Well, I mean, he still probably kept a place at the temple to not
No, we're
arouse
talking about when
suspicion.
he came to the temple as a Padawan.
Oh.
As a little boy. He
That would
could
be
have
cool. I would
possibly
like
been
that
in the
be-
corner of Spook Central.
I think that would be cool as a written in, because, the whole just cutting off a dude's arm because your wife might die isn't a good enough thing to go to the dark side.
But I think
that would be cool if he was corrupted.
Yes,
like over
I
time.
think he was corrupted over time, and a lot of different Jedi were, because you notice that Count Dooku falls, and a couple of other Jedi fall away from the Order and become evil. There's a possibility that because they built they built the Jedi Temple on this shrine, it led to these people falling away, and Anakin could have been in an area. Now remember, he's very young when he's 11 years
Like
old.
10 or 11,
10 or
yeah.
11 when he comes to the temple. So he's got to live there. So he could have been corrupted by that time. He's already angry that Yoda doesn't want him to be there, and that Mace Windu doesn't want him to be there.
Yeah.
Because remember, he had that angry face when they said, no, he's too young.
I like that theory. I like that little theory. I would like to
So
see
there's
that
a
in a book or a
possibility.
movie.
Yeah. But I do think that was kind of cool, just to kind of throw that in there. But for me, it was the time of the Republic, the time when Obi-Wan walked the grounds.
So, go with me on this.
Do I have to?
Yeah. Ancient Sith evil thingy.
Right.
Let's build a temple on top of it to try and squash it, make it all good for everybody.
Right.
I get that. And Yoda's been around for 900 years.
Right.
Presumably, all this information is passed from one generation to the next of Jedi, at least leaders.
I don't think.
Why wouldn't he have been like, there is some darkness going on in the galaxy right now. I know we're built on top of an ancient Sith shrine. Why not move down the block?
But did
or
he
something?
know it? Did he actually?
That's what I was thinking. Because like,
My
I would
gosh,
presume
they moved the
I
DMV all over the place.
They do.
I'd assume that Yoda would know about it. So it's either he's just
Well, it
like,
could have
oh, well,
been
we
in a-
fixed it, and he doesn't care, or I don't know.
Because maybe he believed that the Jedi were able to neutralize it, and it was written in a holocron, or possibly that holocron was omitted away from all Jedi to see
True.
That could be it.
because
I
they
feel like
didn't
that would
want
be
that
like-
to get out.
I feel like
thought
that would be
was
like
really interesting.
basic knowledge of like, oh, our temple was founded X many years ago, and it was built on top of a Sith shrine. Like how, oh, the Pilgrims came to Pilgrim Rock and then killed an
I just
entire
don't
generation
think-
of people.
I just don't think that was information they wanted out.
I can see that.
Prior to Yoda being there, because remember, Yoda's 900 years old. We're talking about 1,000 years, so 100 years before he's even come to the temple, and he's what, a young man. He's not even running the whole show yet.
No, that's
So
interesting. I like
we
that.
don't know how long it's been that he's been running the show as the Grand Master. He hasn't done it from day one. He just showed up to the temple. Hello, I'm the Grand Master.
That's the first
that was
Star
it.
Wars fact someone's told me in a very long while that I did not know. Was that there's a Sith shrine in the Jedi Temple. That's pretty cool.
Read it in the Old Republic book.
Did you really? I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to look it up again.
I'm telling you, this book has got so much meat and potatoes. I love it.
I have to like read that book.
Yes.
really do.
So it gave me a lot. So, like I said, my favorite time is still when Obi-Wan walked the grounds.
Walk the
All right,
grounds. All right,
yes,
for
a
me-
sexy beast.
Why, thank you, Andy. Oh, you meant Obi-Wan. I'm just kidding. well, for me, since when I got the topic, like I wasn't sure when exactly, so I had to, while we were doing this, I had to like kind of even like do my research. But
Homework?
but I'm gonna keep it
told you
simple.
to do
I'm gonna
last
keep,
work.
I'm gonna keep it simple. My friend Christian, shout out to my friend Christian, who's at work right now. He should be working, but he's looking at my Snapchats and my Instagrams. He sent me a quick time. Me and him were talking about a couple years ago that he schooled me up on. It was the Jedi Civil War.
Yeah, that's the Knights of the Republic
And I
thing.
said,
Yeah.
and I said over Republic time, and I'm gonna go with that time because not only because we just mentioned it, like the Clone Wars, it was Jedi's and
Sith.
droids,
And they still
yeah.
had their
No,
armies
Jedi
of
and
like,
droid,
and
yeah,
droids. They fought,
droid.
so we didn't get to see
Oh.
those tactics. I'm saying we didn't get to see. We saw them fighting droids, which wasn't really that appealing because droids are idiots. They dumb. They say like 2 words, man. Like I don't like.
Roger.
But
Yes.
Roger. But the Jedi Civil War was he like I said, he put me onto that was because, for me, like seeing Jedi and Sith go at it, actual beings, people who could shed
Had
blood
the same and the same abilities.
So
Yes.
so I'm gonna probably have to, since it was so short notice for me, I messed up. It was my fault. But I'm probably gonna have to go with that just because I think that would probably be the coolest thing to witness. Would be the Jedi Civil War, and
Right.
and because around those times, it was like like we talked about with KOTOR. KOTOR would be
Yeah.
the abbreviation for it. It was the most rugged. It was the most like nothing was really polished.
Right.
The rules and the things weren't really polished. Everyone was kind of just. I don't know for a fact, but it feels like and it seems like everyone was kind of just all over the place. Whether it was just emotions and how they felt about the Sith.
Nothing
and
established.
nothing
No
was established. It
rules.
was-
No
yeah,
ground
it was-
rules.
so I'm gonna have to probably go with that time just off the sheer. Everyone was kind of. It was just like a cutthroat. I feel like it was just a cutthroat time more so than any other time that I've seen with my own eyes as far as Star Wars goes. I have a feeling, and plus playing those games too, also made me come to think about like that being like the most my favorite time, just because in the games you've
Yeah.
played those games, like just the way they spoke, those politics then, and just the sheer hatred each side had for each other. Like Jedi, they don't like to really use the term like hate. Like Jedi, we see them as like.
The good guys,
Yeah, they
yeah.
let a flower, like they wouldn't even kill a fly, or like flowers bloom from their
Right.
hands. You
Nope,
know what I mean?
they
Like,
were like straight up
they were
warriors.
straight back then, they were just straight warriors. They believed in what they believed in, still like to this day. And Sith obviously believed what they believed in, but it was so cutthroat.
Right.
Nothing was established, no rules. No one knew where the boundaries ended. Everyone just went to the furthest extent to get the job done. So I'm gonna have to go with the Knights of the Republic. I'm gonna have to go
Wow.
with that time. Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
I also love that time period because like it's not just like, oh, there's a temple on Coruscant. No, there's like Jedi and Sith temples all over
Oh,
the galaxy.
yes, there were.
And it was like, they were all connected with each other. Like, oh yeah, it's almost like military bases. Like, oh, you're gonna go be stationed on Tython now because we don't like you, or something like that. Like, that's what I like about it. The one that I've always hated about like what the new stuff is doing is it takes away like the big meat and potatoes of what the Jedi and Sith really were, and how their infrastructure was, how their politics were. Because I was like, oh, I'm sick and tired of like everything. Like every time a new series of movies comes out, that's the only thing I don't like is like, oh, now this thing's eradicated, or these people are eradicated, or this order is no longer around. And it's like, come on.
Yeah.
But there's so much to it.
It's like, how much can the Jedi really take? Like,
Yeah.
that's why I was kind of upset about 7 and 8, even though I really love those movies. Is like, for years, all I wanted was to see a Jedi Order rebuilt and flourishing, and we didn't even.
Yeah, you don't get that.
You don't get it. Yeah, you don't get it.
You don't get it.
Because we don't even know how Snoke controlled the galaxy to keep it from happening.
See, the mystery, and that's what we go back to the mystery of just Star Wars itself. Is just it leaves us as fans, which is good. Which is, I think, how you have a successful franchise is because years later, you have fans, having podcasts,
And still talking
and still
about-
talking about
yes.
it,
Yeah.
it's implementing what they would do or how they would do things. I
Right,
think that's how
right.
you have a successful franchise or a successful baby, if you will. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
I still have a feeling like a lot of the writers working through Star Wars, especially movies right now, have this thing in their head that says, if Jedi are around en masse and organized, then the galaxy can't be in trouble. And that's like
Yeah.
totally not true.
yeah.
No, because
Yeah.
they, you're going to see, especially if they go forward and there are a lot of Jedi or Sith start to pop up, you're going to see an old Republic style.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
there's really nothing established. Whereas during the time that I like, it was one temple, one planet, even though built on a Sith shrine.
Yeah.
But you just had the one temple.
Exactly.
And the Jedi went from there.
Yeah.
And you didn't have the Sith.
Yeah.
Even though that is my favorite time, the Old Republic, different planets, different places, and it was like no holds barred.
Yeah.
If you
Well, I mean,
needed
there
to go
was-
over there, there was, but there was
Because like the Republic was still in operation. Like it
well,
was
they were
like
establishing it in 25, like I said, 2553,
25,000.
25,000.
So that's still 21,000 years before this era that we're
Right,
talking about.
right.
So I mean, like the Republic is there. It's not the same Republic we know now
No.
or in
Right,
the movie,
right.
but the Republic's there. The galactic system is there. It's just like the best way to
But
describe
what's
it is
there
that
is Sith and Jedi, and
Yeah.
that
Exactly,
makes the
exactly.
difference.
it's almost like a
Exactly.
proxy war. It's like, well, it would be akin to America is the Galactic Republic, like vice versa. And instead of Jedis and Siths, it's like we have two towns or two religions or two whatever fighting each other, but they're citizens, but they're not a part of the government.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
that kind of thing. And that's what, and like the big difference then between like the size of these orders is that Revan and Malak are the best examples where they recruited people to go to war. Like they were Jedi who were like, no, we're doing this wrong. We're going to go do this. And that's why it gets kind of like no holds barred, is because you had literally dozens and hundreds of Jedi just not necessarily leave the order, but say, we're going to defy you because these Mandalorians are just massacring civilians, and we're going to go fight because you're not, and we're going to go fight
Well,
alongside
there was
the
nothing
Republic.
established at that time because during the time of the Republic, they set up. It's almost like they set that in that 1,000 years of peace. They set up specific rules that you couldn't break.
Yeah.
But before that, it
Yeah.
was like, we have to do what we have to do to get it done. And I think that because you didn't at that time, there were no more Sith. They wiped them out, or so they thought. They wiped them out. But before that, there was hundreds of thousands of Sith and hundreds and thousands of Jedi.
Exactly.
So you did have civil war constantly. They were on one planet doing something, so the Jedi went over there. Or they were on another planet. Jedi were doing something on another planet, so the Sith went over there.
went over
yeah,
there
so
as well.
it was constantly a galactic
It was a battle.
Yeah,
It was a battle. It was a
constantly
battle.
going on.
And honestly, there wouldn't be anything to me like that would be the most. That's something you would definitely want to see on screen because that's all nonstop action.
Yes, I
Yeah.
agree with you. I think that's
Nonstop.
something that we need to see. Because
Absolutely.
in the Saber Guild, we do that in our shows.
Yeah,
The Sith and the
absolutely.
Jedi fight.
and that's what people like about Star Wars. It's the good and bad. Which side are you on? Who would you fight for? Who's whose morals and beliefs do you believe in, and that's what it's all about. That's what it's about.
And to your point, I think when we do the shows, the kids, they look at us like in awe because they are seeing Sith and Jedi actually fight.
Exactly.
Because before in the movies, you don't see that.
Yeah.
You see like 1 versus 1. You don't see like
the battle,
Right,
the civil
like what
war.
you guys did at Long Beach Comic Expo. It was like 3-on-3 or 4-on-4. Like
Right.
like you don't see that in the movies. You just see like 1 versus 1 or
Exactly.
2 versus 1. That's
because
it.
you saw Anakin fight Obi-Wan, or you saw Palpatine fight Mace Windu.
Or even Grievous fight just Obi-Wan.
Yeah, like the only
Even
time
though he had 6 hands, that doesn't count.
I think the only times we had like multiple battles was Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi, and Maul, and then Anakin, Obi, and Dooku twice.
For me, the video
Right,
games
but
after that
that's-
are the only times you see anything like that too.
Right.
Yeah.
You see the full
Or
scale
the shows,
battles.
the full scale battles. I think that's
Right.
what's missing from the cinema.
Right. And I think we need to see that. That's hopefully people are listening
Yeah,
and get that going.
I think I'm just gonna write and direct along with David this Jedi. This is the Civil War.
And they could easily do it too, because like there's no excuse now not to, lore-wise, because they've established that Darth Bane existed in this new canon, and he was the one who created the rule of 2. So that means before him, whether they want to take it how the stories were, there were thousands of Jedi, hundreds of thousands of Jedi and Sith, or they could do it. They could say there is an army of Sith, there's an army of Jedi, and they could do whatever details they want. There's like no excuse for them not to. They could even do it now. Like they could even do like episode 9, the Sith return, because now they can write new lore. I mean, I don't know why the heck they did away with the Sith. I get it because it's poetic. Anakin was supposed to destroy the Sith, but Snoke is not a Sith. Like, I get that he's not a Sith title-wise, but he's a Sith at the same time.
Right,
So, I mean, they
right.
could do it even past the episodes.
And
So there's no
we don't
excuse for them
know.
not to. Yeah.
And we may even see Revan because they brought Revan because he was like the #1 requested toy to be made. They brought him back as a black label toy.
Yeah, I got the Black Series Revan.
Right. He has the black series. So who knows? We could even see a Revan, and he is super popular.
And technically, Revan's like half-assed canon. Because how it worked was they did a bunch of episodes for the final season of Clone Wars, but like over half of them didn't get into production. Like they had to stop and just release what we got. Revan was animated, like the pre-animation they do. He was put into one of them. I think the episode he was in is actually already in there. There's the episode where Yoda meets Bane when he's going on his little Force Vision quest. I think Revan was supposed to be in that. I'm not 100% sure, but he was supposed to be in that final season. So, I don't remember if it was Dave Filoni or Kathleen Kennedy or something said, but they said technically even the stuff that wasn't released, so the Revan thing, the Boba Fett killing Cad Bane, and that's how Boba Fett gets a dent in his helmet, all that is technically canon, but not 100% confirmed canon or something like that. Like they weirded it in a weird way where it was like, we made it, it's part of the storyline, you just didn't see it, so technically it's canon, but it's up in the air. So technically Revan is like half canon.
Right. And I mean, the sky's the limit. They could open that up and we could really see it.
Yeah.
I think we could. I mean, hopefully we can. But, like I said, I'm glad we got to talk about this because, we talk about all kinds of different things, but to be able to talk about the times in the galaxy is really cool.
Yeah.
Because you can go on and on and on. The door is open for anything.
Yeah, anything's possible.
Even in the dawn of the Jedi,
Yeah.
Anything is possible. But I do like I said, I do want, like you said, Aaron, like to see that the battle between a bunch of Sith and a bunch of Jedi.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be seeing people on the same fighting levels.
True. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's
using
the point.
the same styles.
It's the same styles, and Sith have their own way of. It's the same styles, but Sith have their own harsh way of fighting as well. And Jedi's is more so like the Force push is just
It's literally selflessness versus selfishness.
Exactly.
Right.
It's emotion versus
and I think that's what we need to
non-emotion.
see. I think we do need to see it. I think we're owed that as Star Wars fans and watchers and
Damn it, we want
enthusiasts.
it.
And you just give us what we want, and we'll be okay.
The fighting styles between Jedi and Sith can literally be summed up in Episode 3. It's the difference between Anakin immediately executing Count Dooku or sparing him.
Exactly.
That's like what the
That's what it
difference
is.
is between being a
Right.
Jedi
I
and
think we
Sith.
need to see
At
that
its
power
like
struggle.
face value.
Yeah, we need to see it. We need to see it.
He did have,
firsthand.
you know, he had a cup of evil Sith before he left the
True.
Jedi Temple. But you know that brings in another thing that I was thinking about when we talk about Anakin and Padme. Now, in the scene of Revenge of the Sith,
Yes, I remember that movie.
okay, he is sleeping in the room with Padme.
Yeah.
What does he tell Anakin?
Wait,
Where he's been? I'm sorry. What does he tell Obi-Wan?
Where he's
been?
been.
He's out all night, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stays the night with Padme.
I have
Doesn't
a justification.
Obi-Wan
I have
wonder
numerous.
where he's at?
I think Obi-Wan's no idiot. I think he knows.
I think
he
Obi-Wan
just
knows,
want-
but
I
the
think-
reason he gets away with it is like
Because Obi-Wan's
I
done the
have
same thing. He's been there. He's been
Well,
there, done that.
I
There's no
have
way he doesn't know. To me,
because I come across the same issues you do. Like how does like essentially plot holes in movies, and I go, how does this happen? And I love my imagination because in my experience, because both of them together, I'm always able to write in reasons. And like I have a few for that one. One's like, well, maybe he was assigned to be a protector of Senator Amidala every time she was on the planet, so he stayed with her at her penthouse, at their penthouse. Or then you could justify it by,
And he gets
well,
pregnant while he's doing
Jedi,
that.
the Jedi are very close to how our military structure works in terms of deployments,
But in
how
the-
life works. So it could even be like, yeah, you have a residence on base, the temple,
yeah.
but you
Attack
can
of the
maintain a
Clones,
residence.
They're together. Obi-Wan and Anakin are protecting her together.
Yeah.
So where
But
the heck
well,
is
because he was a
Obi-Wan at this time?
because he was a
Is he at
Padawan.
the bar?
No, because Anakin was a Padawan, so he still until later on in that movie, anyways, when he got permission to do it alone, the Master had to be with him. But he's a Jedi Knight in Episode 3, so if that was the case and he was assigned to protect her, then
Well, he was assigned to protect her in the Clone
2,
Wars.
yeah.
So
in
maybe
Clone Wars, too.
that continues on into
Yeah,
3.
I mean, like that
Maybe.
could be a reason, and then I mean, like there's like I said,
But how do people in her penthouse not talking? They know that they're sleeping in the
'Cause they're all
same room.
I
droids.
mean, if Padme,
No,
if Padme is
she's
telling,
got people in there who are her handmaidens
Yeah,
and
if-
stuff.
I mean, if
They
that-
know
they're bound
sleeping
by
in-
loyalty
Yeah,
then.
exactly. I mean, if Padme is like, Anakin's on his way over, don't say shit. I'm pretty sure they're not gonna say anything.
He doesn't have a shirt on, comes out,
They're not gonna say anything. If Padme, I'm pretty sure she's like,
If Padme was no importance, if she was just like a standard citizen, that'd be all over the
yeah,
place.
but she's Padme.
Queen of Naboo and now Senator to the
Yeah,
Republic.
shh.
You ain't gonna
Yeah,
betray
you're not gonna-
that.
Yeah, you're not gonna rat her out.
Come on, all the rest of that stuff gets out to like the people and
Think
Star
about it
News
this
and-
way, like like with Star News and everything, like somebody saying a ridiculous, more so tabloids, but somebody saying something ridiculous that you don't know anything about. Like you don't know who this person is. Just some random person said, "Oh, George Lazenby really was gay in the James Bond film." Something weird. Like you go, "Ew, no." Makes no sense. But then George Lazenby comes out and says, "No, that guy tried to kill me." You're gonna believe George Lazenby because of his
Stature.
Yeah, so
yeah,
like
exactly.
same thing. If Amidala and a handmaiden are going at it, especially on a galactic platform,
But she's pregnant, so how could you?
Hey,
she's doing what is it?
Doesn't anyone question?
she's carrying
that?
someone else's child for
In
them.
the Senate, they're like, okay, this woman's pregnant. Who is the dude?
That's the one
Yeah.
that bothers me. The one that bothers me is like Anakin comes back from saving Palpatine, and they hug and kiss and stuff inside the Senate building. He goes, "Wait, you're pregnant?" And she's like ballooning. It's like, really, dude, you missed that?
Well, she did wear big clothing. She did wear a lot of flowing robes
she
Yeah.
and
did. She
stuff.
did. She did.
But we don't know how far along she was when she told him that.
Yeah.
She
I
could
would
have been-
assume close to 9 months how big she was. And granted for the fact that she gave birth like literally days later in the movie timeline.
Well, we don't know the timeline though. It's not. We're not talking about a week here. We're talking about a little bit of months.
Yeah.
here.
Maybe,
months,
yeah.
months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I always wondered that. Here he's sleeping in her bed. Where's Obi-Wan in this point? Where is he? Like I said, at the bar.
He's a
Where's he-
council he's a council member now. He
He's
has
doing important
he has-
Obi-Wan shit.
He has things to
So
do.
he's at the.
He has those added responsibilities you get with a role of leadership where you're like, I really don't want to do this, but I
have
get to
to
sit
go,
in that
yeah,
chair, you
yeah.
know?
Yes.
Yeah, let me go make sure this planet's sewage system is working.
Yeah. Making sure that stuff isn't seeping up anymore.
Exactly. There you go. This typical Obi-Wan type
Like
of
the
shit.
Sith are clogging the toilet again.
Exactly.
I like to imagine he was a teacher at the temple.
He could have been.
Absolutely.
He could have been during that time. I don't know. But at that point, when we talk about it was built on a Sith temple, how much seeped out, and once it hit Anakin, it all go into Anakin and then there wasn't any more?
That's a good thing. That's like open to writing and interpretation too. That's like, or because technically the Force is somewhat living and somewhat conscious, even if it's a consciousness we don't understand.
Right.
So I mean, it as an entity could have attached itself to Anakin Skywalker because Anakin Skywalker was so powerful because he was created by the Force.
Right.
See, I want to write this movie too.
Right, to just
And there's like no lightsaber combat in it at all. It's just a murder mystery or something.
right, because we don't know where he was located in the temple and where he slept. We don't know. It doesn't indicate where it was, but could it have gone into him because he falls so easily?
Yeah, like I said,
easily.
he cuts a dude's hand off, and the other guy's like, "I could save your wife," and you're gonna destroy the entire Republic and all your best friends for that. Like,
well, that's because he's been sipping the Kool-Aid. That's
Love is
what.
blind. Love is blind. Love is blind.
And he drank
It really
a big
is.
cup of Sith juice.
I don't know if somebody was like, "Okay, here's the deal. I can save your wife. She might die. We're not confirmed yet. You're just having some hallucinations.
He
But
doesn't
at the
tell him that.
cost,
He doesn't tell him that.
I know, but he's having Force visions. Those are like you can't trust those.
But
So-
he doesn't know that. He is
But that
misinformed
versus
on that.
20,000 Jedi plus all the lives the Empire takes, I'd have been like, take her. Like,
Yeah, but
the love
he's
for
not.
her.
Yeah, he's not thinking that. He's just
no,
literally.
he's
like,
in love with her.
Yeah.
Plus, like I said, he's gotten the heavy. It's like gamma rays. He's gotten the most gamma rays.
So he's gonna turn into the Incredible Hulk.
Something
That's
like
how the
that.
Hulk was created. Gamma
Something
radiation.
like that. He's taken the most of that the Sith seepage
Mm-hmm.
from the temple because he was already, a chosen one.
Yeah.
See, that'd be
So
kind
it
of cool
attached
too.
onto him.
That'd be kind of cool if you think about it this way too. Is like all that happens, and the reason Palpatine chose him is not only. Oh wait, hold on. Think about it this way. So same thing. The Force seeps into the building and stuff. Blah blah blah. Let's say
does.
Palpatine knows. Let's say Palpatine knows it's there. He just knows it's there, but he also knows that that not necessarily Anakin, but he knows that somebody was created through the Force from his old master. Then you cut to the end of Episode 1, and he finds out there's this really powerful kid, but he doesn't know where he's from exactly. He doesn't know yet that it's Plagueis' son technically, and he knows he's going to the Jedi Temple, and that's why he says, "We're going to watch your career with great interest because if this entity attaches and
Right,
bonds with you,
right.
you are mine."
Yes, and he knows that.
Say,
He
"Oh
knows
my
that.
God, we need to write
but
this."
we don't know if Plagueis
Trademark.
Plagueis had some information, right? This could have been shared all the way down the line. That the Jedi built that temple on the Sith shrine. They could have shared that information all the way down the line, waiting for the one.
Yeah.
Waiting for the right one to come along and take that.
Yeah.
This is crazy. I love this whole theory. I'm gonna have to.
We gotta
Yeah,
save
we're
it though.
gonna
We gotta
definitely
save
have
it.
to
We gotta
explore
save
that
it.
one again.
We should do like we call it a podcast, but we should just do a theory video to put on YouTube about this, where we all talk about it, but we don't talk about it loosely. We do like a structure, like this
Right.
is why this is a cool theory. Like,
But I think that it could play a big role, or could have played the role as to how he fell.
that's awesome.
Yes.
I'm enjoying that theory. I'm gonna be thinking about it all day today.
Well, you continue on with that. Well, everybody, we've come to the end of our show. We want to thank everyone for listening in to Radio Geonosis. And next week, I believe we're...
Sith code,
You want to do Sith code?
Sith and Jedi code.
Sith and Jedi code. We'll do Sith and Jedi code. But we also are going to be at possibly another event. We'll let you know once we get there.
Yay.
Yes.
Yay.
So everyone, thank you for listening to Radio Geonosis. We will see you next time.
Thanks, guys. See you later.